My mother's laugh used to echo through our small house like a melody you couldn't forget, but at 5 years old, I was told to bury it. "Stop crying, Ethan," my father snapped, his voice sharp as a blade. "Your mom's gone, and Claire's your new mother now." I was clutching her photo, the only piece of her I had left, when he ripped it from my hands and tossed it into a drawer. I was 5, too young to understand death but old enough to feel the hole it left. My mother had been my world, her soft hands braiding my hair for no reason, her stories about stars that danced in the sky, her warmth when she tucked me in. Cancer took her in 6 months, and my father, Richard, seemed to take her death as permission to rewrite our lives. Claire, his new wife, moved in 3 months later, her perfume heavy, her smile practiced, her eyes never quite meeting mine. She wasn't cruel, not at first, but she was a stranger who expected to be called Mom. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't. "Ethan, you need to move on," Dad said one night, his voice heavy with irritation as I sat at the dinner table, staring at my plate. I'd drawn a picture of Mom that day, hidden it under my pillow, and Claire had found it. She'd handed it to Dad with a tight-lipped smile, saying, "He's still holding on to the past." Dad crumpled the drawing and threw it into the trash. "She's not coming back," he said, his eyes cold. "Claire's here now. Be grateful." Grateful I was a child, drowning in grief, and he wanted me to thank him for replacing her. The years that followed were a quiet war. Claire tried, in her way, to fill the role of mother. She bought me clothes, cooked meals, attended school events, but it always felt like a performance. She wanted Dad's approval, not mine. When I was 7, I overheard her telling a friend, "Ethan's so difficult. He looks at me like I'm the enemy." I wasn't difficult. I was broken. Dad never saw it. He was too busy building his new life, climbing the corporate ladder at his law firm, basking in Claire's flattery. By the time I was 10, I'd learned to keep my memories of Mom to myself, locked away like secrets in a vault. I stopped talking about her, I stopped crying, but I never stopped missing her. High school was a blur of rebellion. I stayed out late, skipped classes, got into fights. Dad called it acting out, but it was survival. Every time I saw him and Claire laughing together, it felt like a betrayal. I'd find Mom's photo rescued from that drawer years ago and talk to her in whispers, promising I'd never forget. At 16, I got a job at a local diner, saving every penny for the day I could leave. Dad didn't notice. He was too busy with his new family. Claire was pregnant by then, and my half-sister, Lily, was born when I was 17. I wanted to hate her, but she was just a baby, innocent and giggling, unaware of the history she'd been born into. When I turned 18, I left. I packed a bag, took my savings, and moved to a small apartment across town. I enrolled in community college, studying literature because Mom had loved books. Dad called once, leaving a voicemail. "Ethan, you're being dramatic. Come home." I didn't. I built a life, small but mine, with friends who became family and a job teaching part-time at a community center. I visited Mom's grave every year on her birthday, leaving wildflowers her favorite and telling her about my life. I thought I'd escaped the past. But karma, as it turns out, has a long memory. 23 years after Dad told me to stop grieving, I got a call from an unknown number. I was 28, living in a modest apartment, content with my quiet life. The voice on the other end was shaky, unfamiliar. "Ethan, it's Lily, my half-sister, now 11, was calling from a payphone. I need your help," she said, her voice breaking. "Dad's. He's not okay." My stomach dropped. I hadn't spoken to Dad in years, hadn't seen Lily since she was a toddler, but something in her voice, raw, desperate, pulled me back. I drove to their house, a sleek suburban mansion Dad had bought after his promotion. Lily was waiting outside, her face pale, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "He's drinking," she whispered. "He's been drinking for months." Claire left him. The words hit like a punch. Claire gone. Lily led me inside, and there was Dad, slumped on the couch, a bottle of whiskey in his hand, his eyes bloodshot. The man who'd once commanded every room looked broken, small. Ethan, he slurred, barely looking up. What are you doing here? Lily told me everything. Claire had been having an affair for years, draining their savings before leaving with her new partner. Dad's firm had downsized, and he'd lost his job. He'd been spiraling for months, neglecting Lily, drowning in debt and alcohol. She'd found my number in an old address book, desperate for someone to turn to. I looked at my father, the man who told me to stop grieving, and felt a storm of emotions: anger, pity, betrayal. But Lily's small hand in mine grounded me. She needed me, and I couldn't walk away. I stayed. I moved Lily into my apartment, got her enrolled in a new school, and helped her navigate the chaos. Dad refused rehab at first, but I didn't give up. I dragged him to meetings, sat through his rants, listened to his apologies. I was wrong. Ethan, he said one night, sober for the first time in months, I thought I could fix everything by moving on. I didn't see what it did to you. His words were heavy, but they didn't erase the past. They couldn't. Still, I helped him. Not for him, but for Lily, and maybe for the part of me that still wanted a father. Months turned into years. Dad got sober, found a job, started rebuilding. Lily thrived, her laughter filling my apartment the way moms once did. I told her stories about Mom, showed her the photo I'd kept all those years. She listened, wide-eyed, and asked to visit Mom's grave. We went together, laying wildflowers side by side. It felt like closing a circle, like healing a wound I hadn't known was still open. Karma didn't come as revenge. It wasn't Claire's betrayal or Dad's downfall. It was the slow, quiet justice of time. Dad facing the consequences of his choices, me finding strength in mine. I'd lost my mother, but I'd kept her memory alive. I'd been told to stop grieving, but I'd learned to love through it, and in helping Lily, in forgiving Dad just enough to move forward. I found a kind of peace, not perfect, not complete, but enough. What do you think? Was Dad's pain a fair consequence? Or does forgiveness outweigh the scales of justice? Share your thoughts below.